Hey guys, Chelsea here from Making Manzanita. Today we're going to teach you how to chalk paint a desk and specifically how to repair wood damage on furniture before you paint. You can see here that this desk was in pretty rough shape before I gave it a makeover. Chances are that every time you go to paint something, you're going to find some damage too. So I want to teach you how to fix that before you start painting, and we are teaming up with a company that we love, Mohawk Finishing Products, and we're trying out this Epoxy Putty Stick, and it's the first time I've tried it. Here is how you use it. It's actually really easy. So once you open the tube, you simply pinch off a little piece about a grape size, depending on the damaged area that you're working with. You smush it together in your fingers until it warms up, and then you just kind of push it into place. The epoxy is going to remain workable for about 5 to 10 minutes. You want to work quickly, and you just firmly press it into place where the damage is. It's best to get a little bigger or a little higher than where the actual damage is because you can sand it down. You also could get your fingers slightly damp to create a smoother finish. I didn't do this and mine turned out fine though. You want to do this everywhere where you have damage. You can see I did it on several spots on this desk, and then you just kind of step aside and wait until it cures. And that's going to take about 20 to 30 minutes.
Just wanted to answer a couple questions real quick. The reason I chose white, there are several different colors that Mohawk offers. I'm choosing white because you want to always choose the color that you're going to end up with, and I'm painting this white. If you plan on using a more transparent paint, you would want to use something more closer to a natural wood tone so it would match there, or you would just choose whatever paint color you're using too. So that's why I'm using white. And then for the consistency, it's kind of hard to tell in the video. It's almost like a little bit thicker than, I would say, Play-Doh, and it went on very easily. One suggestion that I didn't do, I read afterwards, is to get your fingers wet beforehand. That makes it a little easier, but again, I didn't do that and I didn't have that much of a trouble. For the time, I said it'll be ready to sand in about 30 minutes. It will harden, and once you've mixed it up in your fingers, it should have about 8 to 10 minutes to kind of be workable. So that's how much time you have to get it in place. This probably took me 5 minutes to do all this area. And again, I'm just waiting 30 minutes until I can sand it down.
So when it's time to start sanding, I started with an Orbital sander and 150 grit sandpaper initially, just on the areas that I had the epoxy stick applied. The rest I did by hand, and I just used 220 grit, more of a fine grit sandpaper, and then I just sanded it smooth to touch. Next, I started to paint. Now you can see here I started to paint and then I stopped because I realized that the chalk paint I was using, it was starting to bleed, as you can see there. This will happen sometimes when you're working with old furniture, and I had skipped the priming step just seeing if I could get away with it, and I couldn't, so I stopped and I went back and decided to do a good coat of primer. I used that stain blocking primer from General Finishes, and I actually did 2 coats of the primer, and then I moved back on to working with the chalk paint after that. For the chalk paint, I used Rust-Oleum chalked, that's linen white, and to help reduce brush marks, since I was using a brush on all this, I applied that Floetrol. It's a paint additive that helps self-level the paint a little better than normal. So you just mix in the appropriate amount into your paint and then you brush it on as normal. It was the first time I've used it, and I did notice some brush strokes when I was done, but I do think they were reduced by adding that, so it's good to try. For the brush, you can see there that I'm using an angled brush. This is the Shortcut. It's made by Wooster, and I love it. I use it for all sorts of things. If you have a paint sprayer, you could also use a sprayer for this. I have one, but the weather is a little too cold this time of year to be using the sprayer outdoors. So next you can move on to distressing it. And this part is totally optional. You don't have to distress it, but I really love that distress look, especially when there's little ornate decoration on the desk like this. I love to have that kind of pop out with distressing it. You can see I just used a sanding block to distress on the edges and on that decoration, and then here I am using a wax to seal it. I'm just using the bare wax with a wax brush, applying it all over the entire desk, and then you wait for it to harden and then you can wipe it all down. It seals the surface very nicely and gives it a nice velvety finish that I really love. Now lastly, after you're all done, you can add that hardware back on. I was lucky, all of the original hardware was in great shape, so I was able to reuse that. You can see here's a look at the before again, all of those damaged areas, and let's take a look at the after. It looks so good, don't you think? This was the first time working with that Mohawk Epoxy Stick, and I absolutely loved it. I think it worked great for furniture repair before painting. It was very easy to use. It creates a really durable surface, and it sanded super smooth. I can't even see where the damage was after I've painted it. It's great because it works not only on wood, but it also can work on metal, glass, ceramic. That's super impressive, don't you guys think? The best part is, again, it was so easy to use. So I am so glad you joined me for this little furniture flip. I love how our desk turned out, and I can't wait to see you guys next time. I hope you have an awesome day.